Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for joining us today for the University of Deusto's online information session on our official master's degree admissions process. My name is Pilar. I'm the representative from the business school, from Deusto Business School, and I'm joined this afternoon by my colleagues Maite in the Faculty of Social and Human Sciences, Irate in the Faculty of Law, and by Maitane in the University of Deusto's Communications Department. So just before we go ahead and get started, a few reminders and indications. This session will be recorded and it will be made available later along after the presentation. Throughout the presentation, if you have any questions regarding the admissions process that are not answered or regarding a specific program of interest, please feel free to use the questions answer tab at any time. These questions will be compiled and answered at the end of the presentation. And then in the event that we don't, in the interest of time, make it to your question, please know that we will be in touch with you directly to get any doubts or concerns resolved. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So the University of Deusto's online admissions process has been open since the 15th of March and will remain open through the month of May. The first step to follow in the admissions process is to compile the documentation you're going to need to submit your application. So what documents are these? You will need to submit a valid ID card or a passport, an academic record to date. So if you're currently completing your undergraduate studies, this would just be the most recent transcript that you have showing as many marks as possible. If you've completed your undergraduate studies, this is a complete transcript of the entirety of your bachelor's degree. We will also ask for a copy of your curriculum, your CV, a letter of motivation explaining your interest in the program and university. Depending upon the program itself, we may ask you for a language certificate to accredit different languages. And for all students who have completed their undergraduate studies in countries that are not Spain, you will be asked to submit a certificate of access. This is just a letter that validates that your bachelor's or your undergraduate studies are valid and would allow you to pursue a master's degree in the same country. This document we will touch on in further detail a little bit later on in the presentation, but if you have any questions regarding these specific documents, again, please feel free to leave them in the question and answer tab. Once you have all of your documentation completed, you are ready to access our online admissions platform and submit your application with these documents. So you will need to log on to deusto.s/virtual-office. You will be asked to create a username and a password that will be associated with your application. We'd like to remind you it's very important to keep these login information in a safe place because you will need to use them to check on the admissions resolution later along the line. Once you log into the platform, you will be given the opportunity to choose up to 3 master's programs of interest, and you will need to rank these in order of preference, so 1, 2, and 3. Once the admissions committee has received all of the documents necessary and has reviewed them, if they deem it appropriate, you will then pass to the interview phase with the program director or directors. This interview will typically be set up by email, but then will be done via a telephone call or via a video call. So this might be a Skype or a Google Meets, kind of depending upon the situation you set up with the program directors. Following the interview itself, you will be able to check the status of your application in real time on that virtual office online platform. After having received your admissions resolution, we pass into the pre-enrollment phase. So as there are a limited number of places on each degree program, the university has established this pre-enrollment requirement system. Following the resolution of your admissions, you will receive a notice from our Secretary General regarding the window of dates in which you can complete this pre-enrollment phase. This pre-enrollment phase really just consists of making a deposit on the program and reserving your place in the program, again, because some of these programs have limited numbers. The window that you will be given to realize this pre-enrollment will depend upon the date that you submit your application. We'll talk about dates a little bit later as well. During this, throughout this applications process, throughout these phases, we do remind you that you will be receiving communications from the university via email. So please be very attentive to your inbox and to occasionally check your spam folder in case your email provider may have filtered them in that direction. Following the pre-enrollment phase, you will then receive notification of when you are eligible to officially finish enrollment in the university and become a University of Deusto's master's student. So the admissions letter will specify this window, and this enrollment period will just consist of finalizing and turning in some documentation, and that'll complete the admissions process. All of these steps are detailed with more information online at the website listed on the screen, deusto.s/masteradmission. So we invite you to save that URL in case you need it later along in the admissions process. So as you can see, this is a process that can be completed fairly easily and online. We do like to specify that for the second step of submitting your application and documentation, again, you will have to do this via this website, deusto.s/virtual-office. In order to support students with this part of the admissions process, the admissions office has created a step-by-step video tutorial that you can use as you go through this platform in case of any doubts. In the interest of time, we won't be showing the video in its entirety right now, but following today's session, you will receive the link to this video for your reference. Throughout the realization of this application online, if you run into any problems, have any questions, or if some sort of technical issue comes up, we again encourage you to contact the faculty advisor for your program of interest, so myself, Maite, or Irache, and we'll be happy to give you a hand or to direct you to the IT team if it's a problem that we might not be able to resolve ourselves. So of course, the biggest question is, when will I know my admissions outcome? The University of Deusto's master's admissions process works with two phases. The first phase is between the 15th of March and the 30th of April. For applications received during this time, you will receive your response to the program by the 14th of May, and then you'll be given the opportunity to finish that pre-enrollment by the 24th of May. The second phase opens the 1st of May and finishes the 31st of May. The response is given on the 11th of June, and you have until the 21st of June to reserve your place. For all students, national and international, EU and non-EU, we really do encourage you to participate in the admissions process as soon as you are able, as soon as you have all of those documents compiled, and to try to get your application in by the first phase for a number of reasons. One is, again, some of these programs have limited places and may fill up, so we really encourage you to get that application in as soon as possible. For international students who might have to arrange a longer type of visit, travel arrangements, visa processing, we know that these processes can certainly take some time, and given the current global situation, experience shows us that they might be taking a little bit more time than normal. So we really encourage all international students to get their applications in through that first phase. If you have any concerns about these dates, or if you might need additional assistance, again, in some of those international aspects of visa processing, etc., we have a number of resources that are available to you. So we ask that you, again, contact the faculty advisor of your program of interest, and we'll be happy to direct you to the Master's International Service Desk, who would be able to help out with this, or perhaps the International Relations Office, depending upon what needs you may have. So before we open up the questions and answers section, we would just like to address two of our most frequently asked questions. And again, if any more specific questions arise about these topics, please feel free to leave them in the questions tab. So the first question is, what is an access certificate? This is the document that I mentioned in previously. It's a certificate issued by your undergraduate university that accredits that the degree certificate that you obtained, so your bachelor's degree, your diploma, is valid for access to master's programs in the same country where it was issued. It's just a letter that accredits that those studies are valid, and it just needs to be issued by perhaps a general secretary's office or a registrar's office in your undergraduate university. When you go to request this document, if your undergraduate university has any questions, please feel free to reach out and let us know, and we'd be happy to give you more information. We even have a template that we would be happy to send you that you could then pass along to your undergraduate university for them to complete. Another one of our frequently asked questions is, which English certificates does the University of Deusto accept? So here in this table, you can see the plethora of different certificates that the University of Deusto accepts. We do also want to let you know that there are a variety of ways to accredit your English language if the program you're interested in does require a specific level of English. So for example, if the program you're applying for requires a B2 level of English, you would be able to turn in one of these certificates listed here, an IELTS, a BEC, a TOEFL, etc., any that you see in this column. If you do not currently possess one of these certificates, but you did your entire undergraduate degree 100% English, this would mean that you're exempt from turning in further documentation. In this situation, you would just need to indicate in your application that your undergraduate degree has been coursed 100% in English. If you don't have one of these certificates right now, and if you have not completed your undergraduate studies 100% in English, please don't worry. We have the Center of Language Studies here at the University of Deusto and would be more than happy to schedule with you an internal language level examination so that you can still, of course, participate in the applications process when those phases are open. So we are going to now open up the questions and answers section. So again, my name is Pilar. I'm the representative from Deusto Business School. I'm joined by Irache in the Faculty of Law and by Maite in the Faculty of Social and Human Sciences to answer any questions that you may have.